Salutations, sweeties. I'm back with another video. I'm doing another Linocut today. I think next time I'm going to probably do a different craft, but today I'm still on a Linocut kick, and I wanted to do more Moo Deng art. Now, I'm saying more because I didn't put this on YouTube, I only posted it on TikTok. But I actually did already do a mini Moo Deng Linocut, because I'm obsessed. I guess to be fair, I'm pretty obsessed with Haggis from the Edinburgh Zoo, but I don't have as much access to Haggis because the Edinburgh Zoo posts far fewer photos than Moo Deng Zoo does of Moo Deng. I also guess obsessed might be a little too strong of a word. I just think she's really, really cute. I love her. I love her little rage energy. I think it's precious. Anywho, I guess I should talk about what's on screen. This is me refining my original sketch and making it so that when I print it, I can just transfer it over to my block print, and start carving. This footage is actually sped up 5 times its actual speed because I am extremely slow at drawing. I didn't really know that about myself until I recently took a life drawing class. And the instructor was super nice. All of my other classmates were incredible. I did it at a local art studio, but I was so slow. We had like a 2.5-hour class once a week, and I crawled through our compositions. I'm so sorry, I have to keep restarting my voiceover recording because I keep laughing about how slow I was and how bad I was when I first started. I never really got any faster. I definitely got better at still life drawing, but I definitely never got any faster. And I'm not really that upset about that. Because I have the luxury of not needing speed on my side in terms of drawing, and that suits me just fine. I mean, like, obviously I find other people's ability to draw quickly incredibly impressive, but I don't really need it for myself, and I don't feel like getting down on myself about it. I know I said I was going to talk about what was on screen, and then immediately started talking about anything else. So to get back what's on screen, I guess the inspiration for this piece is my shared mortification with Moo Deng about having to stay hydrated. Tragically, I am not a baby hippo, I'm a grown human, and nobody's gonna make me drink water but myself, and it's a real battle every day to remember to drink water. I guess regardless of my hydration woes, I have been trying to push myself artistically this year. I'm really pushing myself to do more hand lettering in my work, which is actually really scary for me. And I know most of the reason for that is because I'm dyslexic, and I'm never 100% sure if I am spelling something correctly, much less writing the letter correctly. And I'd hate to do all that work and then realize I had spelled something wrong and have to start over again. So in 2025, I'm going to push myself to experiment with hand lettering and expand the subject matter of my art so I can keep growing. So fingers crossed that I stick to it this year and I don't chicken out. So at this point in the piece, I started asking myself if I wanted to just have line art or if I wanted to have a filler interior color for the body of Moo Deng. And I did ultimately decide to go with a filler color. So once I started getting that done, it was basically the final design, and I just needed to print it out, and then I can get tracing it onto some tracing paper so that I can transfer it to my carving block. I think that's the funniest part of like lino carving in general is I draw a design, and then I redraw the design, and then I draw it again so that I can transfer it. I don't know, I guess it just kind of feels a little Sisyphusian, but it's also fun, and it gives me time to listen to books. I love books, and that means it's time for Book Club Corner. I don't know if I'm going to call it that forever because, to be honest, it's really more of a book report, but I love books and I love talking about them, and tragically, this is my YouTube channel, so I'm going to talk about them if I want to. I did listen to a heartbreaking book this time. The title is Sabrina Corina by Kali Fajardo-Anstine, and I just want to give you a heads up, this collection of short stories tackles a lot of very heavy topics, so even though I do recommend it, go in being prepared for a hard time emotionally. It brought me to tears twice. That being said, I do think it's a gorgeous peek into the interior lives of a community of from many different angles. This collection focuses primarily on the lives of Latinas of indigenous heritage living in and around the Denver, Colorado area. There are absolutely no wasted words in this collection. All of the stories are dense and powerful. They're absolutely beautiful. Some of my personal favorites were Remedies, Galapago, Tomi, and Ghost Sickness, but really for me, Galapago took me out. It's a story that started me crying, and it's about loss, it's about gentrification, it's about alienation of family, and having to move an elderly woman out of her home into an assisted living facility. And obviously, I am way oversimplifying this short story because it is wonderfully dense and multifaceted. The characterization is incredible. The prose is incredible. I just don't know how to describe it other than that. If I'm not much mistaken, this collection is actually her debut collection from back in 2019, making me quite late to the game. But I do think it's incredible, and I would highly recommend you read it if you haven't. Obviously, the warning I gave up top still applies because the book is very sad. I'm very excited to get my hands on Woman of Light, which is her other book that came out in 2022, because I want to read it really badly. And maybe I'll ramble about that once I've read it. So I guess, that's the end of Book Club Corner, because I don't want to spoil anything else. Let me know in the comments if you can think of a better name for the segment. I am not in love with Book Club Corner, but I am having a pickle of a time thinking of another title. So let me know. Also, let me know if you like that section. I mean, I love it. So it's going to take a lot of serious convincing to get me to get rid of it, because I have a degree in creative writing, and other than writing a lot and absolutely never getting published, I talk about books all the time. But yeah, if you can think of something I should be talking about instead, let me know. So to get back to the project on screen, I'm just transferring it by rubbing it with my fingernail. You can use other tools, but I find that's the easiest one. Some people like to transfer using graphite paper, but I just can't get behind it. It doesn't work for me the way I want it to. Probably because I'm using it wrong, but that's how it is. Anyway, so I started carving the smallest details first, which is kind of atypical for me. I like usually to save those till the end, but because this project had so many tiny interior cuts, I wanted to start with them this time so that I'd know if I'd ruined my carving right away. So yeah. Here you can see me carving her little tiny nose, and then I move to the little fiddly bits in her eye and her ear. And they were quite fiddly, but I actually think I did a pretty good job. They came out pretty crisp, which I'll show you in a little bit later in the video. I know I mentioned this in my previous video, but there's something very relaxing about carving, even the little fiddly tiny bits, because all the decision making of the design process is over, and now all I have to do is just pull out the bits that don't matter, pull away the stuff that isn't part of the design, and I'm left with this really beautiful little piece of art. And once I get settled into it, I can just sort of turn off my analytical brain and just carve out those chunks. I can just sort of relax and take my time and really have a good time making the edges super smooth and chillin'. So yeah, I don't know, I like that. Here I'm trying to show you how I got the little designs out, but frankly the camera really didn't pick up that small detail, so oops, oh well. It's actually kind of funny because I really struggle with the concept of negative space and negative shape, but carving is a subtractive medium, um, which means I'm creating negative space. So it's very Alanis Morissette, isn't it ironic energy? Because generally speaking, I'm creating negative space, but I don't really understand it, and I just think that's quirky silliness. But yeah, generally speaking, I love the carving process. I love sitting there and getting the edges really smooth, like I said, and just pulling away the things that don't matter. It's sort of like living a metaphor if you want to get really deep about it. I don't though. I think that's silly to say. I'm regretting saying it now. But yeah, so also I really love encouraging people to start trying this hobby because I think it's a great hobby personally. But I don't want to mislead people. In the beginning, when you are learning, carving probably won't be relaxing because you need to make sure you're not stabbing your fingers or cutting through your design. But as you get used to it, you'll find a way that works best for you. And even if it doesn't become relaxing, it will get easier. So, yeah. On the topic of starting this hobby, if you want to try it out, I say start learning your skills on erasers. They're a lot cheaper than buying a pack of Speedy Carve or sheets of traditional lino sheets. So if you decide you hate the hobby, you still have just erasers that you can use to erase stuff. And the tool itself isn't very expensive, so you haven't wasted a lot of money. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth about it. I also think that the erasers force you to learn to do details really well because there's not very much space in them to faff about with. You have to really get in there and get those details in sharp and tight, because otherwise you're not going to be able to fit it all in. But there's also an issue of if you have the manual dexterity to do it safely and not stab yourself. So, keep those things in mind. I feel like I've been talking a big game about how good I am at carving and acting like I'm an expert. And that couldn't be further than the truth. I'm a hobbyist. I like doing it a lot. But to prove to you that I am actually not very good, tragedy is about to strike. Honestly, that's what I get for acting like I can just turn my brain off and have a super chill, relaxed time. But it's actually okay. I can just blend the edges and make them look more organically part of the design. I just need to round them out. I think no piece of art ever goes without having some accident happen during the process. Certainly none of my art ever does. And like, take this as a learning moment. You can just fix pretty much anything. You just have to be patient and know how to work around mistakes. Which luckily I've been doing this long enough now. I do know how to work around my mistakes. Fun fact, actually, if we were using traditional lino sheet, I could just glue in that missing piece. I could just glue it back to it. But because I am using a Speedy Carve block, I can't do that. Lino sheets really aren't as tough as they look, but for me, because I have pretty bad arthritis, I prefer the Speedy Carve because it's easier on my joints and muscles. So, even though traditional lino sheets are sort of easier to fix and you don't have to adjust your design, I sort of prefer the easy Speedy Carve stuff. Also, in the spirit of full transparency, this footage of me carving is also way sped up. From tracing the design to the tracing paper to rolling out my paint and doing the final prints, this took me a full day's work, so that might give you a better idea of how long this process takes. I am endlessly impressed with folks that can do the really large, like poster-sized prints. I am blown away by the dedication and the time commitment. So yeah, this is a video is cut way down from raw footage and then sped up significantly at the speed of which I'm carving. I am still a little concerned about if this video is like too long and rambling. I'm still sort of in the process of finding my footing and creative style in these longer format videos because I got my start doing craft videos on TikTok, where I assume a lot of my viewers are from. I don't really know. Shout out, I guess, where you found my videos. If you're migrating over from TikTok or if you just found me sort of organically because of the YouTube algorithm. But the shortness of those videos has left me sort of in a quandary of what to show in my longer stuff. And I guess that's sort of a rambling way of saying, please bear with me, I'm still sort of learning what I want to do with these. There's actually kind of a funny story about how long it took me to make this video. My wife and I have two cats, and one of them is very attached to me, and we snuggle every day around the same time. And he really wanted to snuggle with me while I was doing this project, but I was so deep in it that I just kept saying, oh, 5 more minutes, baby boy, 5 more minutes, I'm almost done. But I wasn't almost done. I lied to him. And I didn't cuddle when he wanted me to cuddle. And I mean, he did eventually get his snuggle. We just snuggled after dinner, so don't get me wrong. But he was very upset that I was not available at the exact moment he wanted his snuggles, which he is very correct about. I am a terrible person, and I deserve to be hated for the rest of my life until my dying breath. And I can't even complain because I'm so happy that one of our cats likes us. Because our other cat, she hates me. She came into the house first, and when we first got her, she wanted nothing to do with me. And to be fair, in recent years, we've kind of become a little bit more of friends. I can sit next to her and watch TV with her, which is a huge improvement. Because when she first moved in with us, she was very much my wife's cat. She wanted nothing to do with me. She only wanted to hang out with my wife. She would get upset if I cuddled up too close to my wife when we were sleeping at bedtime. So really, I'm very lucky that one of our cats likes me at all. But yeah, I very much stan our cats, which I'm sure they are endlessly tired of. I digress. Back to what's happening on screen. I didn't really make any other mistakes while I was carving, which is awesome. I did do a bunch of the smaller details, and then I went in with my larger bit, which I will show you here. It's personally, I think you got to be really careful with these because you don't want to like gouge out the design you've already been working on. Um, but I didn't actually get to use this very much on this piece because I had so many of the smaller interior cuts to make. So I mostly just did along the edges to pull out big sections. But it's so relaxing and satisfying on larger pieces because you get to make everything real smooth. I hope you guys can't hear the ice cream truck. It comes by like twice a day because we live in a neighborhood with a lot of kids. And they are the prime demographic of ice cream trucks. I actually think it's kind of cute. I never grew up in a neighborhood with an ice cream truck, so I think it's very sweet to have one now. So here I'm doing my test print. I only did one of these because I was fairly certain I had done everything correct, with one notable exception. And I just knew I wasn't going to have to do a lot of edits. I have a couple things I want to do. I want to make the water splashes a little bit more organic, a little less angular. I want to do the same with the toe beans. But overall, this is just a pretty clean cut because I've been doing a lot of practice over the last couple years. So it came out pretty good. I'm very pleased with myself. But yeah, after doing those edits, it's time to do the actual print. If you watched my last video, you know I really struggled with this, but I did some things different this time. I changed the orientation of my paint so that I could get a thinner, smoother rollout of it, because I was realizing last time I got it too chunky and too thick, and I wanted to have more space to like roll it out. So that's what's happening here. I still think it's a little chunky and thick, so next time I'm going to orient it so that I can roll it out across the course of the entire tray and get it even thinner. But this is a vast improvement over the I'm trying my best print. It's already looking way better. And here I'm using a roller that's usually used for rolling out glue, instead of a Baron, which is typical, because Barons are a little too rough on my joints. The way you push it down is like straight down, and that's too rough on me. But yeah, that's if you're looking for like the correct tool, it's a Baron and not a little roly bit. This is a later print, and I think it comes out really crisp, really nice. I'm very happy with it. I'm making huge strides on how I print. Anyway, I'm going to hang them up and let them dry overnight in the closet, because I moved and I no longer have that beautiful window. And with the magic of time travel, here we are. I really like them. I think they came out cute. I really like to put them in my shop at some point, but I need to figure out how to ship them first. So stay tuned. I'll put a community post up if I do put them in my shop. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. I'll see you next time. And see you later, sweeties. Bye!